Yes. Oh, so we have the whole thing over there. There we go. Let's move it. Smooth. Who cares? I'm gonna waste my time going that far. All right, we're hot now. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, everyone. We're hot and we're live, and Mike Wallace has joined us, and he's gone away already. He was too handsome for us to do anything with.
I'm here. I'm here.
All right, perfect. Give us 1 second to turn you back up. Try it again, Mike.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Perfect. That's wonderful. Thank you. All right. So, with that said, let's jump into it. Well, let's go to the flag salute. It's already hot enough. Yeah, those old Navy guys. They take this. I tell you, it's make this to a lot. Look at that. States we are. If you couldn't feel love. One thing. All right. And with that, my name is Dominic Torres. As we all know, this is meeting, and we are all excited to be here. You good? All right. Today's July 5th. We're all a little better from yesterday. With that, we're going to jump into club members. And you're right up. Get up here and say something about yourself. You want to tell him to tell you about you? There we go.
They can't see me. I'm Glenn Johnson, member of Satellite Rotary Club, and sitting down with me is Barry Leffler, wannabe something.
All right, and Raymond Foster's over there on the ones and twos, getting it done. Tonight, our guest is not, well, he's a guest, but at the same time, he's Lieutenant Colonel Ted. I'm not, how would I even say that? Bucierka? Bucierka, there it is. That's what I'm saying. That's who our guest is tonight. He is our speaker for the evening, and he's in charge of, is it this chapter or in general? Oh, wow. Fantastic. The Marine Raider Foundation. That's wonderful. As you guys know, I don't go into it. I let the gentleman or the lady that's in charge go into it themselves. So with that said, sir, more than happy to have you come on up here and do your thing.
Thank you very much. Everybody, welcome. For those joining via Zoom, hope everybody had a great 4th of July and Independence Day. So thank you very much. Again, retired Lieutenant Colonel Ted Bucierka. I'm the president of the board for the Marine Raider Foundation. And again, thank you for having us. Thank you for allowing me to be here to represent the Marine Raider Foundation. Let you know a little bit about the Marine Raiders and what we do at the Marine Raider Foundation is support our active duty, retired Marine Raiders and their families. And first of all, thank you very much for everything that you guys do here at the Rotary Club, for what you guys do to support military families and more importantly, your local community. So thank you. Before I jump into talking about the Marine Raider Foundation, I just want to talk about the Marine Raiders. Marine Raiders and the organization they fall under, Marine Special Operations Command. So the Marine Raiders, MARSOC, was formed in 2006 by the late Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense, who oversaw the implementation and the stand-up of Marine Special Operations Command. Up until that point, the Marine Corps was the only branch that did not have a component inside the United States Special Operations Command. And until then, the Marines were, they did not participate within U.S. SOCOM, within U.S. Special Operations. MARSOC traces its history, its lineage back to the Marine Raiders of World War II. So those Marine Raiders of World War II that famously pioneered the small boat tactics in the Pacific campaign, those ambush guerrilla style, during very heavy fighting in the Pacific campaign, in particular Guadalcanal. So that's where we trace our history and our lineage back to. And like the Marine Raiders of World War II, MARSOC and the Marine Raiders were established at a time of war. So the Marine Raiders of World War II were not in existence before the kickoff of World War II. They were stood up at a time of war. And same with MARSOC. So we were stood up in 2006, February. In 2006, the Iraq campaign was entering its third year, probably some of the most deadliest years and heaviest fighting that we've seen. And the Afghanistan campaign was going into its fifth year that we started to see the resurgence of Al Qaeda and the Taliban. The Marine Special Operations Command, as it was stood up, would quickly be thrown into that mix. So they were stood up in 2006 by our secretary for the need for more special operations units. So they tapped into the Marine Corps to establish that. Now, our Marine Raiders are deployed to this day all around the globe, and they continue to remain heavily deployed in support of special operations. And we know, as many veterans that are here, that the military life is a hard life. It's a tough life. It's tough for our service members, and it's tough for those for their families. Well, the life inside a special operations community is even tougher. And the demands that are put upon our Marine Raiders and their families. The level of training is at the very highest. The deployments are long. They maintain an operational deployment tempo higher than the conventional forces. So they're constantly gone. Even when they are home, they are rarely home because they're off training. And that training is high risk and deadly training that they conduct. So going back, as MARSOC was stood up in 2006 and quickly was thrown into deployments in 2007 and started to participate in operations in Afghanistan, where we saw our heaviest combat throughout the years, there was a need to fill in the gap where the government and the military couldn't support when we had wounded and injured Marines and sailors. And that's when the Marine Raider Foundation was established, originally under the title of the Marine Special Operations Foundation, MARSOC Foundation. And they stood that up in May of 2012. And our main mission at that time, when we started to see our heaviest combat and started to receive some of our heaviest casualties in 2012, when the foundation was established, was tragedy assistance. And tragedy assistance remains our main pillar today. And that tragedy assistance is to be there for our Marine Raiders and their families during the most difficult times, during the times that when loved ones are lost, to be there for the families, to carry the load for the families, to give them the time to grieve. That's when the Marine Raider Foundation fills in. To be there for our wounded Marine sailors, Marines and sailors, so they have time to heal. To be there to provide that medical assistance, equipment, therapy, so they can heal up. That is one of our main pillars that the Marine Raider Foundation supports. Another great thing that we do support is our Gold Star and Survivor support. And so the pledge that we have is to never forget and to always remember and to celebrate those lives of the 48 souls from Marine Special Operations Command that made the ultimate sacrifice. And 2 weeks ago, we just hosted our largest, and it was our 8th Gold Star family reunion, our resiliency event. And we hosted it back in North Carolina, down in Wilmington, and up at Marine Special Operations headquarters up at Stone Bay. And this year was our largest event we've ever held. We held 174 families. Those are spouses, parents, brothers and sisters, and children. And this is the 8th year that we've run it, and we've never had a turnout of this magnitude. And what the Marine Raider Foundation provides for this very special event, this resiliency ceremony, or this real resiliency event, is to bring the Gold Star families together and provide a platform to them to talk, spend time with, celebrate, grieve, and remember their loved ones. As much as, we are there to support and hold them and cherish them, none of us can understand the loss that they have served, that they have, than another family member. And what we have seen over the years in this very special event, that the families that have been there for a while they take in the families that are there for the first time, and they build that resiliency, and they help them through the grieving process, and they are there to be there with them. And we're extremely proud of this. So what the foundation does, we provide their airfare, their hotels, their meals. All they have to do is show up. And this year, absolutely just a great turnout. And the headquarters and for Marine Special Operations Command had a fantastic turnout. They were all at the red carpet for them. And because the other part that's very special during this event is for those families to spend time with our active duty units of MARSOC in the Marine Raider battalions. And they spend that time with them, many of them that serve with their sons, their husbands, their brothers. And it's a time for those family members to be around people that were like their spouse, their brother. And several years ago, I was at one of these events, and a Gold Star father, who I served with his son, spoke to us, and he just goes, "I just love being around you guys because you remind me of my son." And that event is something that we're extremely proud of. Along the assistance that we do for tragedy, we also provide a significant amount of medical and therapy equipment for our Marines, our sailors that serve with us, for recovery. So, some of the wounds, both in battle and in training, that equipment, that therapy that we're able to bridge that gap that the government or the military can't provide is so very vital to help them recover. And, the military is a hard life, and special operations is even harder. And some of the training that they do takes a toll on them. Those injuries are significant. And even today, I was notified that we had a training accident within the command. And right now, the Marine Raider Foundation is providing support to a Marine Raider's family while he's in the hospital recovering. They flew his loved ones out to be alongside him, cover all the hotel costs, the travel, and for the family that's back home during their time of worry, providing meals and meal trains and support to them. So each and every day, the Marine Raider Foundation is there to fill the gap, to provide assistance when our Marine Raiders and their families need it the most. Now, the other thing that we do is we also provide support for Marine Raiders that are transitioned. As we all know, transitioning out of the military is tough. Whether it's at 4 years or 40 years, that transition is hard. So we provide tuition assistance to them. We provide grants for them to, for clothing allowance, to get computers, start to go to college, suits for job interviews. So helping them out as they begin to make that transition. We also focus a lot on family resiliency within the command. So many of the events that are hosted for the families at MARSOC, we're able to augment and provide support to those. So if those pre-deployment briefs, family resiliency events, and places that are really promoting health and funding programs that enhance personal and family resiliency. So we're able to fill in there as well. And the last thing that we end up providing is going back to our Raider legacy, support and preservation of our World War II lineage, and then also the monuments that we've have constructed and supported to our Marine formations. During this Gold Star family event, we did a ceremony for our 3rd Battalion where the Marine Raider Foundation bought and funded a Marine memorial for all the Marine Raiders that were either killed in action or killed in training for our 3rd Battalion. So we preserve all those monuments and carry on those lineages for them. So I'd like to close that, we've been inception of the Marine Raider Foundation since May of 2012. And to this date, getting current numbers for you, we've provided over $7 million of assistance and support, and supported over 17,000 Raiders and their family members. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it, and it's an absolute honor on behalf of the Marine Raider Foundation, on behalf of the Marine Corps, Special Operations Command, and veterans. thank you so much for everything you guys have done and this opportunity to talk about MARSOC and talk about the Marine Raider Foundation. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to discuss or turn it back over to the mic here. No, so we have had it in several places. And up until 2 years ago, we had one of our active duty Marine Raider battalions down at Camp Pendleton, where I had the great opportunity to serve multiple times in my last time as their commanding officer. So the first times we've had it was several times in Southern California, but we've had them in a couple other places. It's really nice to have it towards the command. So back in North Carolina, where all our forces are at, so the families can be with those active duty members, and more importantly, the active duty members can be with those Gold Star families, which we hold so high and so dear to our hearts. So again, I retired in December 2021. I finished up as the commanding officer of 1st Marine Raider Battalion, which was located in Camp Pendleton. And when I turned over, we moved the flag and the battalion over to Stone Bay in North Carolina. So when I retired, I wanted an opportunity to give back. The Marine Raider Foundation has always been there for me, my Marines, sailors, and everybody within the command. So, just because I took the uniform off, looking for an opportunity to serve, and I was able to come on as a board member in 2022. And then soon thereafter, a good friend who was the president of the board, Major Derek Herrera, retired. He stepped down as the president of the board after 7 years of service, and I had the great opportunity and privilege to serve as the board member for the foundation. 17 would be really nice though. 17,000 people that we've over 17,000 Marine Raiders and families. So we've run actually a ton of stuff. In 2 weeks here, we're about to run our Southern California golf event down at Monarch Bay, down at Dana Point. So that's a very big fundraising. We're also extremely small organization. So one thing I did not cover is MARSOC's only 3,000 people, and that's civilians and everybody else. So the smallest of the SOCOM components, the youngest as well. So, formed in 2006. So the other services with Naval Special Warfare, the Navy SEALs, United States Army, Special Operations Command Green Berets, and Air Force Special Operation with the Air Commandos. Those are our other services that we serve with. But Marine Special Operations, MARSOC, is super small. So back to your point, we run several fundraising events, and really kind of just grassroots, events. We host dinners, we host fundraisers, we host, we do miles for MARSOC. So people that like to run or bike, they do a fundraiser, and it's literally everyday people that served in the formation or want to support the foundation, giving a few dollars here and there. And that's what we've run over several years. And just last year, as we've matured as an organization, we brought on our first full-time CEO. So Jessica McAndrews, who's our CEO, she's come over from who's been in the nonprofit world for many years, came over, and she has helped propelled and helped us with the fundraising and professionalizing our overall organization. We also have a lot of we've had grants from families and organizations over the years, and we continue to get individual donor foundations, but a handful of big events that we run, which is the golf event. We have a fundraiser up in New York City happening in the October timeframe. We have raffles and other banquet style fundraisers throughout the United States that either we run as a foundation or people that want to support us will run on our behalf. So a lot of hard work. Yeah. Yep. What your guys are doing is supporting people. Yes, there is. And the the other soft services, so Naval Special Warfare, United States Army Special Operations Command, Air Force Special Operations Command, and the Joint Special Operations Command, they all have similar foundations. The Navy SEAL Foundation is probably one of the larger, more predominant ones, and they are there to provide similar support to their service members that are either wounded in action, wounded or killed in action, or in training. And unfortunately, due to the high risk nature that our Marines and sailors conduct on a day-to-day basis, there are accidents, and MARSOC has had several tragic accidents in training. Two of them, both were aircraft accidents. The first one in 2015, helicopter accident off the coast of Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, where we tragically lost 7 Marine Raiders. And then a little less than 2 years later, in 2017, there was a KC-130 accident that was transporting 16 Marines in all, with 7 Marine Raiders and 6 Marine Raiders and Navy corpsmen across country that suffered a catastrophic failure, which killed everybody on board. So, unfortunately, we have had several very painful training accidents that cost the lives of our Marine Raiders and sailors.
Two weeks back, the SEAL Foundation.
Yeah.
Same guys from same.
Yep.
So. Turn the clock back.
How did I get in the Marine Corps? That's a great question. So, originally grew up just south of Buffalo, New York. Went to college at Buffalo State. Played a lot of football, and when it came time to graduate, tried to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And soon thereafter, I made a decision. I wanted to get the heck out of Buffalo, New York, and I was always interested in the Marines and in serving. So I started exploring my options and where to go. I went into this is pre 9/11. I went into the Marine recruiter, the officer recruiter, and asked him, interested in the program. And he basically looked at me and said, "Well, you're a little fat." Because I was playing football, so I was about 245, And he goes, "Are you looking at any other services?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking at the Army." And he goes, "You definitely look like an Army guy." So I walked away. I was a little pissed. Like, heck with that guy. Went down and saw the Army recruiter. The Army recruiter rolls out the red carpet. "What do you want to do?" "I'm interested in infantry and tanks. I'll make you an infantry officer." "Do you got any college debt?" "No, not really." "Oh, okay, we'll give you some money anyways." And basically, "Where do you want to be stationed?" I was like, "I'm not really sure." So he says, "Well, I'll give you a choice of any duty station you want. So what do you think?" "I think I'm going to go back and talk to that Marine recruiter to tell me to go get lost." So I went back, saw the Marine recruiter, signed me up, sent me off to OCS, and didn't really plan on staying in 20 plus years, but fate behold, it's the best 20 years. I will tell you, I've had absolute honor to serve. If I was going to serve in the military, I was going to serve with the best. And that's what drew me to the Marine Corps. So it drew me to Marine Special Operations Command when we stood up in 2006. And it's been an absolute honor and privilege to get there. I do.
Questions are related.
Okay.
Bringing what you know as a lieutenant colonel, all leadership, special operations leader here, what worked really well private sector and what sucked?
So the great thing is, I will tell you, I work for an awesome company, a defense technology company that supports our service members today, and Anduril Industries right down in Costa Mesa. One of the greatest companies to work for, and I'll tell you, everything I was able to do in the military, they fully embraced in their company. We're full of a lot of veterans at Anduril, a lot of people from the special operations community. In my job today, I still support the special operations community with several of our products and training. So that has been an absolute blessing. So finding the right company that you enjoy being around. And when I had the opportunity to join Anduril, who is rebooting the arsenal of democracy by providing the best technology and equipment to our war fighters. I couldn't find a better place to work at and serve with. So it's been a great transition, and working for a place like Anduril that I can still provide and still have purpose with our armed forces and in the defense of our country.
If not everything learned transitions really well.
No, it absolutely doesn't, you know. Can't drop somebody for 20. You can't exactly say what's on your mind all the time. And if you do, you just have to make it a little bit more cordial, to say it at least. But yeah, that transition has not been that hard. You know, the company I work at has just as high, you know, the highest level of performers that I served with in the Marine Corps and in special operations, whether they're veterans or they're engineers that have never served, or they're business development or analysts or so forth. I think great companies all share the same ethics and values, and they all have the same traits that we are all around in the military and veterans.
You got that.
Yeah.
This is great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great.
So what's the volunteer thing? What person you get your own?
Not to see, I'm just the president of the board. President of the board. I just an opportunity to get back. I mean, so yeah, I'm also a Knights of Columbus at our chapter in Dana Point. And you know, as a Catholic man and as a way of giving back and volunteering to the community, you know, I've had a good life. And there's a lot of people that helped me along the way. The Marine Raider Foundation was there for the time I was in uniform for you know, our Marines and our sailors. And you know, they changed lives, you know, especially on the darkest days for our family members, and have an opportunity to be part of that and to be able to continue to serve our families and our active duty Marine Raiders. I couldn't think of any higher honor. So yeah.
What do you miss?
Oh, you miss the boys, you know, you miss the boys, you know. I think the old saying is you miss the clowns, but not the circus. So but yeah, you miss the boys, and I think you also miss some of those deployments and some of those training events that and some of those experiences that you only can have in the military. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't miss moving them.
How they think about
Um,
the transition.
so my wife is ecstatic. She doesn't have to fill boxes. No, we had the fortunate opportunity to settle down. You know, where we were last stationed in Orange County. My wife has a great career in the medical device industry. So for her to be able to, for a place to call home, you know, for a place that she can have friends for more than a few years, a place that she can grow and prosper in her career was an easy choice. So, but yeah, it was great. And thanks again for having us. Wow, appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate that. I do. You what are we sitting with? You got Marines, Coasties, Navy. All the rest of us are here, all hanging out. What's that? Coasties, yeah. Coasties, Navy, Marines, all present and online also. So yes, but that would be the thing I would always say. It's missing the guys. That's the part you miss the most at the end of it. It's not the deployments, it's not all the madness. It's the guys you're with that you could trust. It's always the part you miss the most. So with that said, thank you so much. So we appreciate that. All right, 29 Palms resupply. I know that Raymond was in that meeting with Mr. Wallace. Yeah, absolutely, because I don't think Mike's going to. So I know what we discussed. It's still September, but I don't know what the new updates are.
Okay, so the next drive is September 30th. It's gonna be a smaller drive. That's what we're working on, but the committee's expanded way outside of us. We have a lot of people, particularly from Holy Name of Mary, and other organizations. It's looking good. I got up there on the calendar. The next meeting is, I think it's July 26th. It's not on this calendar here. It's right after the USMC dinner committee meeting. So we can still use some help, but it's looking good. We have the new flyer coming out. It's just looking great.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this is the resupply to our initial resupply that was in May. So wonderful, wonderful. Are you doing the secretary's report?
Hey, Raymond, can I jump in with a question? Sorry, Dominic. Raymond, did you ever see a draft of that flyer?
I did, Mike. I got it on Monday. And I'm gonna put it out to I thought I put it out to the rest of the committee. In fact, I know I did. So check your spam file, but if you didn't get it, let me know and I'll send it back out to you. Did you see
Okay,
it?
thank you. I didn't see it, but I will double check.
Yeah, Glenn's sitting here. He got it. So I know I sent it out, but I'll double check. If you don't have it, let me know. But yeah, it's out there. It looks good as far as I'm concerned. It's a little different.
Great. All right, thank you.
Right before you go, are you doing the secretary report? Are you doing my secretary
Sure,
report?
why
I
not?
was gonna say I don't have anything on.
Okay, I'm gonna do a secretary's report because the secretary's real busy right now.
A little busy.
Let me tell you about the calendar. Yeah. We got great meetings coming up though. We got a board meeting for regular Rotary next week. That is the board meeting for elections for the foundation. On Friday, we have a meeting with Life Pacific University to form a Rotaract Club, which is a club for college students. So we have Interact at the high school, which has 75 members. We're looking at Rotaract, we have the satellite, and we have the Noon Rotary Club. So San Dimas has 4 Rotary clubs, which is really kind of cool. So we have the board meeting coming up next week. After that, we have the 2026 committee coming up. We could use your help on that committee. That is the committee that is organizing the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence here in San Dimas. We have our first fundraiser that you and I are working on. It'll be September 8th of this year. It'll be a casino night at the Plummer Building. The city is giving us the building and we're getting the expertise from the Bollingers. So it's going to be a really cool event. On August 2nd, the Noon Club has Crossroads coming in as the speaker. I'm sorry, let's go back. July 19th, Tobacco Prevention and Noon Club. And you guys have in the evening club, Commander Chris Irwin from the U.S. Navy SEAL Foundation. Now, this is the big change. Unless one of you guys steps up, you're going completely virtual. Now, this is not my club. I'm the past president of the Rotary Club. So you guys, I'll run you virtually, but as far as coming down here and being your AV guy, somebody's got to step up and do that. I think it would be cool to keep it. I think the hybrid thing works really, really well, but that's up to you guys. It's your club. But you've also got coming up Carl Munger from the U.S. Army. He's a retired major. He's on transitioning out. And then you have Samantha Holt, which is the executive director of the Armed Services YMCA Camp Pendleton. Lastly, I was in 29 Palms 3 weeks ago, and we're going to begin to run a program out there. The chief of staff of the base, we were invited by the Armed Services YMCA to a celebration. The chief of staff of the base spoke, and he said his biggest problem was 5,000 teenagers, 1,500 dependent children, 3,500 Marines in the middle of nowhere. We're going to begin to run esports nights off base where we will pick up 30 to 35 Marines, take them to the Masonic Lodge, run esports, feed them, and take them back. And so we're working with the Armed Services YMCA. I've already raised $2,000, which I've already deposited. And so we've got money to run this program. All the pieces are in place. And I hope to start this in late August. And so that's another part we'll be working with 29 Palms. Other than that, is there anything else you guys want to know while I'm up here? Mike, anything I missed?
Not that I can think of offhand. Just that we're going to start collecting for the resupply September 1st at multiple locations, with the culmination being on the 30th at the Masonic Lodge.
Got it. Okay, so then with that said, all that's good. Boom, boom, boom. 4-way test. There's one guy I always want to do the 4-way test. But he keeps it quick, he keeps it dirty, he gets it done. You're up. Go ahead. Where's my copy? Boom, right there. Right, throw it best. Give him a hot second. Right there.
Try that.
There it is.
My opinion of the rotary four-way test is that it's essentially what a good contract should be. People think that anything can be in a contract and it can't. There are certain legal requirements, but every contract should be about the truth. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? If you have a disproportionate contract, it won't stand up. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? If you're writing contracts, you want repeat business, you better have goodwill and better friendships built. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? If it's not beneficial to someone, it's not a good contract. So that's my take on the four-way test, that it is essentially a social contract.
I appreciate it. All right. And then with that said, closing remarks, keeping it quick always. Dues, pay your dues. It's not everybody here. Hold on, look around. Pay your dues. I'm just putting it out there, and you online. You're not forgotten. So with that said, I don't want to know how much any of you owe. I'm not really better than any of you, but still, with that said, kickoff party, you said, right? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. That's what we're looking at again. It's Thursday, right? It's a Wednesday. There you are. Close enough. Wednesday. It's the same thing we did last time in May, where we don't know what that noise was. Like Raymond was saying, the foundation itself will actually pay for a beer as you bring in X amount, cans, diapers, so on and so forth, as we saw and needed at 2-9. So with that, I think that's everything I got here. And then, you know what? Once again, I want to say